Dude, my son last night was just running around the house in the nude.
Good.
Like going down the stairs. I actually sent Krista a photo of this because he is full-blown exhibitionist. Not sure where he gets this from.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. He's just nuts, man. Hey everybody, welcome in to another episode of Mics Are Hot. I'm Kaitlyn Vinci alongside Heather DeBow. How's it going out there, Heather, at the crack of dawn for you?
Crack of dawn, I know, right? It's going good.
Yeah.
Just waking up bright and early.
You do get up early.
Yes, I do. It's, what time is it now? 7 a.m. And I kept forgetting that the time changed. So normally you and I are 3 hours difference, but now we're 2. So I almost woke up at 5 instead of 6 today, and I'm really glad I remembered that because that would have not been fun.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. It's that time change switched over Phoenix race weekend when we were all there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's deceiving because it doesn't actually benefit anyone in Phoenix.
Right, no, because we don't change our clocks. We're the weirdos that don't change our clocks, yes.
But Phoenix was fun. I got to spend time with you out there. Championship weekend. It's hard to believe that the season is officially over. It's like we go and go and go for 10 months and now it's done.
Now we're done. I know it's kind of weird because I feel like it took forever to get here, but then at the same time we're like, wait, it's over? We're done now?
I know. It's so funny too because we always joke that when we're in Phoenix it feels like the last day of school because like everyone's hugging and talking and like you're not going to see certain people for a couple months anyways. It's kind of nice though. It's to me I feel like Phoenix always shows the sense of community that the sport is because everyone's kind of just sharing that moment together. Final race. Of course, the teams who are in the championship hunt are very serious and like off in their own worlds.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I know. Cool. I kept saying to people, "Will you sign my yearbook? Stay cool." Everyone used to be like,
"Have a good summer.
Have a good summer. Like, see you next, whatever." But yeah,
thanks for the memories.
Thanks for the memories. Yeah, championship weekend was fun. I think the races were good. Obviously, trucks had a lot of excitement, to say the least.
Woof. Are we calling it that? Yes. Yeah, that was interesting. I know you were waiting to interview the champion.
Mm-hmm.
I was in studio, of course, for race day. And that's one of the few races we actually stay through the race to help do studio cut-ins and things like that. And it's like we were just watching, and it's so funny sometimes to see like Todd Bodine and Trevor's reactions off camera to what's happening.
Sure.
Sometimes I think there should be a camera on them the whole time.
That would be awesome.
It would be very behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But that race was crazy. And I mean, it was, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it because there was so much occurring between the championship guys that I was not expecting. Once that first incident happened between Carson Hocevar and Corey Heim, it just went off the rails from there. It took a real sharp
catalyst
left-hand turn into crazy town.
Gosh, that was wild. I remember I was pit spotting. I was with Amanda Busick, and her and I the entire time were like, we had like our eyes closed, like we just were like low-key freaking out. Like we became fans at the same time as trying to work, and because we had Grant Infinger in our section of pit road. So we were paying a lot of attention to him, obviously. So I don't want to say we were rooting for anyone because we're not, but you tend to kind of lean more into whoever you're focusing on, right?
That's fair. Yeah.
So when he was
invested.
leading, you're very invested because you're there waiting. Like if he would have won championship, Amanda would have had to interview his crew chief, Jeff. And then like, we would have had to run because we were on the back stretch, and this pit road in Phoenix is just crazy. It's so difficult because there's gates everywhere. There's no easy way to get there.
So many gates.
Right. So we would have had to be on the back stretch and then literally run all the way around to the front stretch to the start finish line to continue like post race interviews and things like that. So yeah, it was wild. And Amanda was cracking me up because she was just like, like she had her clipboard over her face. She was actually making me laugh more than anything else because she was just so into it. So
it's hard not to be.
Right.
Because when you're down there on pit road, you literally are part of the moment. I mean, you're seeing it in real time and reacting to it as it's happening.
Right.
So It was interesting. Ben Rhodes, though, was the champion. And I know you got to interview him after the race.
I did.
And I really, really respect and enjoy Ben as a competitor. Obviously, he's been in the Truck Series a long time. Now he joins a very elite group with multiple championships in the Truck Series. As Todd Bodine said, welcome to the club. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like Ben is always one of those guys that's just there when it counts. Like he always manages to like pull the rabbit out of the hat. But he's super talented, so it's not really a huge surprise that he was able to win another championship. And I just love his personality. I really can appreciate people who show personality. It's so fun. And we knew after his first title that post-race presser was off the chain funny.
Lit.
And the second one also delivered in more ways than one. But you got firsthand experience with him. So what kind of state was he in once he finally got to you?
Woof. I don't know that he knew who I was at that moment, to be honest with you.
Sure he did.
Yeah, well, he shows up, he goes to sit down because we're sitting in director's chairs. He almost falls like completely out of the chair, which I almost did too, because we were sort of on the track. We were on the apron, but we were on a little bit of a tilt. So he almost falls out of the chair. He still had his goggles on his forehead from like when they do the champagne spray.
Yeah.
And I was sitting down there. Josh Sims was going to do his interview for Fox too, and so technically Josh was supposed to go first, but then they were kind of still figuring something out. So they said, "Hey, can you go?" So I said, "All right." So he sits down, and honestly, I still have to watch it back because I don't even know what I said or what we talked about, because he would go from like being like, "Oh yeah, I'm a little intoxicated," to like, "Yeah, we had a really great season and my team worked really hard." So it was hard to keep up with what mood he was in, but Ben's great. I feel like anytime I talk to him too, like prior to a race, when I'm going to get my race notes, him and I never actually talk about racing. We're always talking about off the wall, like just random stuff. Things, and then I'm like, oh man, wait, we're supposed to actually talk about what I need to talk about later, not like, I don't know, aliens or whatever we were talking about one time.
Had to have one more alien mention.
Yeah, had to have one more alien mention. But he was great. I really enjoyed him. But then after he got done with the interview with me, he like got out of the chair, kind of walked away a little bit, and then said, one of the producers, "I almost threw up in the middle of that."
Oh no.
Yeah, can you
thank
imagine?
Goodness that didn't happen.
Can you imagine? I think I would have just been like, "Well, here you go, Ben Rhodes, you're champ."
Ben Rhodes, everybody. Like, walk off
done.
Moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I always wonder how they do, because they've been racing, they're probably dehydrated, it's hot, and alcohol obviously hits your bloodstream really quickly. So kudos to them for not having more incidents.
Yeah, he was chugging that champagne because he knew. So here's what happened. Like last year, they took him straight to the barn where all the fans are partying. So they took him out there. That's kind of why he was so drunk in the media center, because he went straight there. So this year they thought they were going to be smart and take him to the media center first. So Ben was like, so I just went ahead and chugged that champagne and got lit anyways out by the stage. So yeah, it was good.
That is good. Good for Ben Rhodes, though. He's a talented little racer. I always wonder, what the future might hold for him, because he seems very content racing in the Truck Series. Like I said, he's been there a long time. I'm sure he's had different opportunities or considered other things, but it's kind of like a Matt Crafton that just seems happy in that particular series. And there's some things I think are really attractive about that series for a competitor. You obviously still get to race. The schedule is pretty manageable. It's not as intense as Xfinity or Cup. So happy for him. Happy for old Benny Rhodes.
Oh,
and
Ben.
I thought maybe his tolerance would be up more this time around, because since it's been 2 years since he won a championship, but no. It's still where it's at. Yeah. So good for him. Then in the Xfinity Series, I thought that finish was awesome, by the way.
I think it was the best of the weekend for sure.
I think so too. Cole Custer, man of the hour. Good
Stone Cold Custer.
Yeah. And like, what an interesting couple years it's been for him. Obviously he was in the Cup Series at one point, made the move down to the Xfinity Series, which we have seen that be a viable option for different drivers, going backwards, and then it's helped elevate them forward again. If I think of John Hunter Nemechek and different drivers who kind of went to the other series and had a lot of success, and then was able to get some bigger opportunities in the other series. So happy for Cole Custer. I remember covering him in the K&N series and stuff. And he was always such a nice kid.
Yes, very nice. And I mean, that technique he used to drink the beer, like the Stone Cold Steve Austin, like slammed him and then just...
I know.
He nailed it too. The video coverage of that, the photos, so like so good. Did you see on Stuart Haas Racing on their Instagram, he was doing it at the shop and he did it multiple times over and over and over.
His pants were soaked.
I know, his jeans were soaked because you could tell they had done like who knows how many takes.
Yeah, it was funny. I was like, that's a long day at a shoot to be doing that over and over. He had been hammered by the end of it. I think.
Yeah, I'm sure. I
mean, how many beers were consumed in the making of that?
I know, right? I know Cole's great though. Like we mentioned, he's a really, really nice guy. Great racer, very talented. But I'm always a little surprised when he does pull out that personality because he's pretty quiet. He's normally pretty quiet. Like, he's upbeat and just kind of always has a smile on his face, but he's not like a loud personality. So it kind of like shocks you a little bit when he pulls out those stone cold moves.
Yep. Stone cold moves. What a great way to cap off his year as well. And also for YRB, young Ryan Blaney. Okay, so this is really awesome. I think he's a great champion of our sport, of course, getting it done in the Cup Series. He was not going to be denied that title. I mean, I felt like he was driving for his life pretty much in that race.
Yeah, and if you watched his hands, because he has white or bright yellow gloves, he was fighting the wheel majority of the time to a point where I'm like, he's going to wreck. Like, I remember we were sitting watching it together inside the Featherlight. We were watching it, and I was
our trailer,
he's going to serious wreck right now because he just looked on the edge the entire time.
He did. He earned that one fair and square. And I just think, again, love his story. We obviously had him on the podcast earlier this year and where he talked about, his motivation, his family, and giving back to them for all the things they sacrificed for him.
I think, honestly, it might sound cliche, but really what fuels me, especially on the professional side, is like making all the time and money spent on me as a kid growing up racing that my mom and dad did, like trying to pay it back, like show it was worth it.
That's
right.
Awesome.
So like it's essentially like making your parents proud, right? Like I want to do that for them. So that's like the huge thing for me professionally to want to do. And just seeing your parents proud, I think is like the coolest thing ever. And luckily I've been able to do that and continue to do it. So that's like the main motivation for me.
I loved seeing all the pictures of his mom and dad and his sisters there with him. It's just such a close-knit family. You know how much racing has meant to that family over the years. So for him to get the ultimate prize, I'm sure has been just a super special moment for the entire Blaney group.
Right.
And he's got a lot of fans. People love him, and he's a very likable guy and athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I was happy to see that for that team. Now Penske's won the last two.
Yep.
In a row.
Yep, they've been on fire. Not only in NASCAR, but in IndyCar too. They've been doing really well. So yeah, they're definitely one of the teams to beat across all motorsports. They're a big deal. They are a big deal.
And I wonder what all the partying's been like for that celebration.
I know. I've been looking at the pictures from when they do their media when they go to New York, and it looks like so much neat. Fun, right? Like you get to do so many different
Empire
things.
State Building and all the different things. NASCAR does it right because, I mean, as soon as the season is over, they're flying the champion, like you said, to New York City to do all the different media obligations and having the winner or the champ on all those different shows and platforms talking about it. It's pretty cool.
He was on
surreal.
He was on, it used to be Regis and Kelly, but it's not Regis and Kelly. It's Kelly and her husband now, but I don't know exactly what it's called. But I thought that was cool. It's always neat to see them show up in a different entertainment space to where most people that watch that show may not know who Ryan Blaney is. So it's kind of a cool opportunity.
Right. I think those are great things for NASCAR to be doing.
He's really into entertainment. Like, do you remember a few years back, was he in a movie or didn't he?
Yeah, he was on a show.
Right, he was on a show.
That other show that was on Netflix for a bit about racing. He had like a cameo type role in it. And he told me once that he would love to do more acting stuff, which I think is so interesting. Hey, maybe down the road there will be some Days of Thunder 2.0 and he could play himself.
Idea. All right, we need to like copyright
Make that happen.
Yeah. Nobody steal our idea. We're making that movie.
We're making that movie.
We could even bring Tom Cruise back Because, I mean, he still looks like he did basically back then anyway, right?
It kind of could be like the Maverick Top Gun thing where they revisited that and had the OG people in it. That would be cool. I think we're on to something with that.
I think we're on to something.
Honestly.
How do we pitch that idea? Who do we got to call?
I think I know, but
you've got some ideas? Okay, cool. I got some
ideas.
I like it.
So, moral of the story, 3 great champions, awesome weekend in Phoenix, great venue to close out a very, very eventful season. So, I was thinking about this year in bigger picture on what kind of stood out to you, I guess, of some of the best stories or the things that you really enjoyed seeing. What would you say?
I really liked the things that were different. So like Chicago Street Course, that was just so different. And I think that really stood out as something that NASCAR was very successful in doing, even though they had to battle up against Mother Nature. Because we all know she has a thing against motorsports and will always show up and ruin the party.
She's a stage 5 clinger.
She's a biatch. That's what she is.
She always comes around.
Yeah. So they had 9+ inches of rain. However, what a race that was. And then Shane Van Gisbergen pulling off the win for Trackhouse, and just that whole storyline of them having Project 91. I just think that's such a cool way to bring other, drivers from different disciplines and different series across the world. It's just really neat. So that stood out to me as one of the biggest moments of the season for sure.
I think so too. Like we've talked about before, anytime NASCAR tries something new, I feel like it's just a step in the right direction. So to that point, I would say the North Wilkesboro race was so cool. And, obviously we had a chance to talk to Jess Fickenshire about that, the whole process of making that come to life. That one definitely will stand out to me as one of the coolest races of the year. I know some people were critical of the race itself, but I would say just of the venue and what they were able to put together for that was amazing. I think fans and viewers really respond well to that nostalgic, days of old, recreating something that was so integral, like so important to the history of the sport. So having that occur again, I think just was really, really a neat thing to witness because we were both there in person.
It really felt that way too. Like I told some of the people, I was standing in the TV compound when I first kind of got there, and I'm like, man, I literally feel like I'm just at a local like Friday or Saturday night race, short track, like whether it be dirt or pavement. It just felt very like home, because I grew up doing that with my dad when he raced modifieds. Like that's what it felt like to me. So it was really neat because to have, the Cup Series stars there, and obviously trucks as well, but then have it this small town feel was, I don't know, I think they did a great job with that. It was really neat. So I'm glad I got to be a part of it. I didn't get to go to Chicago, but I, got to watch it, but it was nice to be able to actually physically be there for North Wilkesboro. And I'm excited that we get to do it again.
Yeah, same. I was just going to say, we get to relive that all over again. So those 2 races were really neat. And I was thinking too, some of the stories I enjoyed watching was William Byron. Was one that stands out to me. I know he didn't win the championship, but it was such an incredible year for that whole team. It felt like every week they were there, they were up front, they were leading laps, they were contending for wins pretty much on a weekly basis. And, we've known William a long time, right? And from when he started in trucks, and I know his family well, and they're just great people. And it's nice to see this kind of next phase of his career kicked off, because he obviously always had good seasons, but this I would characterize as definitely a breakout campaign for him. So and their pit crew was always on it, and it's our friends on that pit crew. We like them, good peoples over there. But that was a cool story to follow. Really be
for sure. And you mentioned the pit crew, but I think all the pit crews this year killed it. Like the competition every week with who would have the fastest pit stop. There were multiple crews that were the fastest week in and week out, and they were kind of vying for that top spot. So it's always so neat to just see how they can compete against each other and perform, and they did a great job. So hats off to all the pit crews. Honestly, I think that they just killed it this year for sure.
They did. RFK Racing, Brad Kozlowski's 6 crew won the Mechanics Wear Pit Crew of the Year award. They were talked about a lot. I feel like especially the second half of the season, every single week they were really rising to the occasion. And that was the other story I wrote down, was the resurgence of RFK. I think Brad Keselowski obviously took a big risk in a lot of ways leaving the comfort zone and what he had been used to at Team Penske for as long as he had, to take on the dual role of owner driver at RFK. And of course it came with some growing pains, but then it was like, wow, this season they really came into their own with Chris Buescher doing what he did. And I know Brad didn't win, but again, I felt like he was still always in the conversation for wins a lot. It just didn't come together somehow.
Yeah,
did you see his pictures, by the way, of his family and the new edition?
His new edition. They were so sweet.
I loved those pictures. Like, what a cute family.
I know. He was like, party of 5. Aw.
I know.
That was cute.
Ooh, busy.
Yes, gosh.
That's a lot.
We had him on the show not too long ago, and he talked about, writing checks, and he was always like surprised by how big of a check he had to write. Well, now you have 3 kids, so not only big checks in the owner of a team role, but dad,
big kid checks.
Dad, can I have some more money, Dad?
Yeah, dad checks.
Yeah.
A lot of checks being written over there for Brad. But yeah, I thought that was another cool story. I don't know if you have any others that come to your mind of things you saw this year. I feel like,
honestly, if I had to think back all the way through, I mean, I probably should have sat down and really thought about this, but it's been a little bit of a blur, to be honest. Like, I've been go, and I was at most of the Cup events, but then second half of the season, I'm not really out there, but I covered ARCA all year. So I just think there's so many different storylines across all platforms that it's kind of hard to keep track. But I felt like overall, I had fun this season. It was probably my best year, as far as work goes. So, I'm just glad we got through it and we were able to get through it with smiles on our faces, right? And I got to see you a lot this year, so that was a headline for me, because I think this is the most we've seen each other since we worked together at Speed Channel. Yeah,
yeah, I know that part has been really great. I thought this year was pretty taxing, to be honest. I feel like every season it gets a little more that way. It's because it's a long schedule. I think people probably look at this and see it as a dream career, which it is in a lot of ways, but for a 10-month season, it does require a tremendous amount of sacrifices in your life. So I think too, in my situation, obviously my husband's a crew chief, so they work insane hours. I don't think people even remotely understand the hours that they
I don't
work.
think I didn't even understand until I stayed at your house a couple times, and I'm like, holy crap, he left at 6 and he didn't get home till after 9.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a normal day in the neighborhood, right? Like, so they work pretty much around the clock, and then they're gone every weekend for 10 months, with the exception of like 1 weekend off. So I think it's a tough industry in that sense that you have to stay on it and very focused for that amount of time. And that comes with some strains, I would say, on people and on families in every area of your life. It sort of takes a back seat for those 10 months. And that's just the way it's got to be. So around this time of year, I'm like, where's the vacation? Where's the relaxation? I'm ready for the break.
Right. I was just telling somebody yesterday, I'm like, I don't even want to get on a plane. I don't want to take a vacation. I just want to sit here at home and do nothing. And people don't understand that either.
I know. It's like the holidays roll around. It's like, I don't want to go anywhere. I just we've been going on planes for how many months? Let's just stay home. The last thing you want to see is a commercial airline.
Oh yeah. Just no thank you. Like yesterday, I was on a Southwest flight because I flew to Vegas to work an event for Discount Tire. So it was just in and out.
How was that?
It was great. I really enjoy working with them. So I've worked with Discount Tire the last, 5 or 6 years. I've done some commercials for them, and if you buy tires from Discount, they'll send you a little email, and you might see my face come through on a video. Yeah. Do you know your numbers? It's like I'm talking about tire pressures and tread depth.
That's funny.
If you need to buy tires, but anyhow, they always have every year. They have a company-wide corporate event, if you will. It's called, and they have a pit crew challenge. So they bring in teams essentially, but they're from different regions around the country of their Discount Tire stores. So these are actually the guys and girls that work in the shop. So then they come out and they compete against each other. So that's
funny.
Yeah. So they bring me in to kind of MC it. So I'm like the hype woman. And then they always have drivers there. So they had Austin Cindric, and then Scott McLaughlin from IndyCar was there because they're Team Penske. And yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
I
bet. I always get them involved. In years past, like we've had Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski back when he was still at Penske. And like I've had them all compete as pit crew members, like changing tires, and they put money on it one time. And so yesterday I didn't really make them do that because Austin and Scott were kind of like, we don't really want to like actually do it because we don't have enough people for a team. And so I just had them kind of help me out. So when it came down to the final two competing against each other for the championship, I made Scott and Austin like interview the entire like team for each one. So they went down the line and introduced themselves, and then they asked them questions. It was hysterical. It was great. But fun. I absolutely love working with them. That company's like so great. So yeah, I just flew there for the day. I think I landed at 12:30 and was back here at 9 p.m. and boom,
wow.
last work trip of the year.
How quick that ride over to Vegas is for you. Like, that's because for us, it's like one of the longest treks of the year.
Mm-hmm. I think it's maybe 45 minutes from wheels up to wheels down, or maybe gate to gate sometimes. Yeah, depending on.
There you go.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah, the work never stops. That's good, though. That's good. And I mean, I know that the work somewhat is continuing because Nashville is coming up after Thanksgiving, which, of course, is the big Champions Week, where all the champions are honored that week. ARCA, Trucks, Xfinity Cup, Touring Series. It's always a big to-do. Great city. Love that town.
Mm-hmm.
Spent a lot of time there at one point in my life, a former life, I will say.
A former life, huh? Let's
Pre-kid
hear more
life.
about that.
I used to sing with a band that was based there, and it was a lot of fun. So
I think you should do that when you're down there.
I'm thinking about it. I was like, maybe I'll do some Chris Stapleton song or something.
Ooh, I like it.
I've been working on a Zach Bryan song.
Oh yeah, which one?
Well, I'm just gonna leave it a secret. Maybe I'll just sing it for you.
Oh yeah. Right now?
So, because I found, not right now, I found a rendition of his song with a female.
Okay.
And so I loved the way she sang it. So I've been trying to learn that a little bit.
I love Zach Bryan.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But Nashville's coming up. That's going to be a lot of fun for the industry. It always is. And there still is racing, of course, happening in the off season. The Snowball Derby comes to mind because it's a marquee event, huge deal in the industry. We've seen some of the top guys, elite drivers come through there, compete in that event, kind of put them on the map. It's a big to-do down there at the Snowball Derby.
Big late model race. Big names show up there, too. I think William Byron.
Exactly.
Ty Majeski.
Chase Elliott's been in the past.
Chase Elliott's been there in the past.
Noah Gregson's going to be there this year. Racing America is going to have a lot of coverage of that. It's kicking off December 1st, so that'll be really cool to see how that goes down. I've actually never been to it. I've always wanted to go and see it in person, but I've never been.
I've told that it's a bucket list. Yeah, I've told that we have to go because it's a lot of fun, and a lot of people are like, you got to get an Airbnb down there. It's a whole week long event, and so maybe we'll have to do that at some point next season. Yeah. The
F1 race is this weekend in Vegas.
Yes.
That'll be very cool to see how that unfolds because there's been a lot of hype around that, and the city of Las Vegas getting ready for it. I'm sure it's going to be a madhouse, but I think it starts really early in the morning, though, East Coast time. I want to say it's at like 1 o'clock in the morning is when it begins.
Oh, yeah, because it's late at night here.
Yeah. Good. I'm a night owl, so I might actually be able to swing that and make that work. Nice. The Chili Bowl is another event that comes to mind. Mm-hmm. We've gone to that the last, I don't know how many years in a row. It's a lot of fun. Again, very unique experience. I've been with you there, actually. We were there together. Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Good old Tulsa.
That's a super big, just fun racing party for like an entire week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So there is still plenty of racing to be consumed if you so desire in the off time.
Yeah.
What are your off-season plans? Do you have some?
Oh, goodness. That's a great question. To be quite honest with you, I'm probably going to sleep for the next 2 weeks.
Just straight, like just a hibernation
At least the next 3 days. I think I'm going to sleep the next 3 days. Yeah. I'm going to thank you. No, you could text me. It's fine. you could always call me. But I think Saturday I'm going to a Lainey Wilson concert.
What?
Yes, awesome. I love her. So
that's right. You told me that. I'd forgotten that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, so I'm gonna sleep the next 3 days. So because I am feeling very worn down. I'm just very tired. So and then I'm gonna go see her Thanksgiving next weekend. I don't really have plans necessarily for that. Maybe I'll go to California, visit my family, but I honestly, like I said, I don't really want to go anywhere. I don't want to get on a plane. That might change though, because a couple weeks in, I feel like it takes 2, maybe 3, and then you're kind of bored, and then you're like, wait, I think I want to go do something. So I could have a spur of the moment, last minute trip somewhere, like maybe for New Year's or
there you go,
something like that.
Bring
but otherwise,
in the new year.
Yeah, otherwise just spend time at home. Kind of, I feel like this is my time of year to do like spring cleaning, even though it's not the spring, like getting organized, because I just feel like you don't have time to do that during the season. So this is the time to kind of relax and then slowly get prepared for next year.
What's ahead? It's oops, I just dropped a pen.
It's all good.
It's like when you dropped the timer.
I know.
Had to have one last drop on the air.
Right. What are you gonna do?
Thanksgiving, well, Thanksgiving's next week. We're gonna have kind of a friends family Thanksgiving. Obviously,
fun.
just try to have people here at the house. I love that holiday because I love to eat. So I enjoy.
Me too. I love
that is top
food.
Of the list on the holiday.
Yeah.
All right, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Oh gosh. I think I really like, which I never used to like it. It wasn't my favorite, but green bean casserole.
I was gonna say the same thing. That is good shit.
Yeah, I never liked it though. When I was growing up, it was kind of like, ugh. Like I didn't really care for vegetables and things like that. And, but now I'm like, it's top notch, and I know how to make it. So usually I cook a full Thanksgiving dinner for my dad and I. But
that's nice.
He wants pizza this year.
Does he?
Don't ask.
Oh no.
So I think we're gonna do pizza instead. But whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, you make the tradition your own, you know?
Yeah, and I may go over. Like, I usually, or sometimes, depending on what's going on, friends have, like, get-togethers, or they invite me over. Yeah. So, we'll see. It's kind of all up in the air, but, yeah.
I also like the stuffing.
See, I can't do stuffing.
Really?
Nope.
Oh, gosh. I like the stuffing.
What about favorite dessert?
I feel like you gotta eat the pumpkin pie, because that's cliche. But I can't even really think of other desserts that have even been served, like an apple cobbler or something. Yeah. Our producer Krista is actually going to come join the festivities, so I'm excited to see her.
Good. Her and Igor.
So that'll be nice. That's right, her man.
Yeah.
And yeah, that should be fun. And we're going on a little trip to Turks and Caicos.
A little trip, later. Like, come on.
Later. It's only 3 hours from here.
Really?
If you can believe it.
I didn't
from
realize
Charlotte.
That. That's nice.
So really looking forward to that. We
are
not
been
taking
before?
The children. No.
We're not taking the children.
We're not taking E.T. and Gertie.
Oh, they were so cute on Halloween.
Dude, my son last night was just running around the house in the nude. Like going down the stairs. I actually sent Krista a photo of this because he is full-blown exhibitionist. Not sure where he gets this from.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. He's just nuts, man. That child is off the rails.
Open. Yeah.
Cadence was crazy in her own right, as all kids are, but he takes the cake for just like strange behaviors. You know, because he was like intertwining himself around the banisters on the stairs.
Nice.
With no clothes on. I'm like, what is happening here? He was laughing and enjoying himself. So I just it was after bath time, which is why he didn't have clothes on. He's just living his best life.
I feel like it's like, you know how when you give, not to compare your kids to dogs, but if you give your dog a bath and then they do zoomies around the house, maybe Dawson got a case of the zoomies.
He got a case of the zoomies. It's pretty much, that's very good analogy, honestly.
Yeah.
There's just no telling what they're going to do. But my point in all this is, and I'm looking forward to quality time with the kids, even though they're not going on the vacation. That's okay. Every now and then we need to have time.
Get away.
To relax without them.
Of course.
It's just for a couple days, so it won't be truthfully long.
And really, I don't think that them. I mean, Turks and Caicos, I mean, I'm sure you could take family there, but like that to me, when I think of that, I just think of like maybe a little romantic, you know, like beachy, like, and then you want to be able to go there and enjoy it. And so I think that's a good option. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so doing that, doing some different things for Fox, of course. Looking forward to the new year upcoming. We already have the hanger shoot lined up for next season.
There you go.
So it'll all kick off pretty quickly. Like I said, it's a short off season, but What a great year it was. And I do love this sport. I mean, this is literally all I ever wanted to do since I was a teenager. So every year is a huge blessing, even though it's a lot of work and it's hard and it's a huge commitment. It's like, well, I wouldn't want to be committed to anything else.
Right.
I've been in a relationship with NASCAR for a long time.
Same.
And it's done me well.
For sure.
It's been good. And this has been awesome. What a great year for Mics Are Hot.
Yes, I've enjoyed it a lot. And it's been so much fun to hear like feedback from not just people in the sport, like whether it's teams or, you know, PR reps, drivers, but then the fans like getting messages, whether it's through social media or actually seeing people at a race and them coming up to you, like saying we really love the show. So we do appreciate all the listeners out there. And we enjoy having you guys along for this crazy ride we're on with Mics Are Hot.
Mics Are Hot. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like Heather said, we appreciate all the drivers and personnel who joined the show this year and all the fans who send in their support and listen. Thanks for an awesome year. I can't wait to see what next season will hold.
Absolutely. And we're going to take a little bit of a break like most podcasts do in the off season so that we can enjoy our family time that we just spoke about and our little vacations we might be going on. But we'll definitely be back next year.
That's right. We'll see you soon. Thanks for a great year.